Not liking to cook doesn't make you incompetent. It doesn't mean you lack life skills. And it definitely doesn't mean you're destined to survive only on ramen and regret. Your brain is literally wired differently. And what I'm about to tell you will completely change how you respond when anyone tries to mock you for not knowing your way around the kitchen. Firstly, cooking isn't one task. It's like 15 tasks disguised as dinner. You've got to plan the meal, check what ingredients you have, realize you're missing 3 key things, go to the store, come home, prep everything, time multiple cooking processes simultaneously, monitor temperatures, adjust seasonings, plate it nicely, and then, oh wait, clean everything up. It's basically project management with fire. For people who hate cooking, this isn't just mildly annoying. Your brain experiences what psychologists call executive function overload. Think of executive function as your brain's CEO. It handles planning, organizing, time management, and switching between tasks. For some people, that CEO is a calm, organized leader who thrives on multitasking. For others, that CEO is basically a hamster on a wheel screaming. Studies show that people with lower tolerance for cooking often score higher on what's called cognitive load sensitivity. Translation, their brains hit capacity faster when juggling multiple tasks. So when someone says, just throw together a quick stir fry, what you hear is just simultaneously manage 7 different timers while making split-second decisions about heat levels and somehow not burn the garlic. But wait, there's more. Every single step of cooking requires a decision, and I mean every step. What should I make? What ingredients do I need? Which recipe should I follow? Wait, this recipe has 17 ingredients. Is there a simpler version? Should I substitute this? How much garlic is a clove? Is this onion small or medium? Do I need to peel this? How thin should I cut it? Is the pan hot enough yet? Did I just hear something pop? Is that normal? Should I stir it now or in 30 seconds? It never ends. By the time you're done cooking, you've made approximately 247 micro decisions. And guess what happens when you make that many decisions? Your brain throws up its hands and quits. This is called decision fatigue, and it's the same reason Barack Obama wore the same suit every day. True story, he literally said he didn't want to waste mental energy on outfit choices. People who love cooking, they've automated a lot of these decisions. They know their default recipes. They trust their instincts. They've done it so many times that half the process is muscle memory. People who hate cooking, every decision feels like the first time. There's no autopilot. It's just constant mental effort with no off switch. Now let's talk about something even weirder. Sensory processing differences. Some people walk into a kitchen and feel calm. The smell of garlic sizzling in olive oil is relaxing. The sound of vegetables hitting a hot pan is satisfying. The feeling of kneading dough is therapeutic. You walk into that same kitchen and feel like you just entered a sensory haunted house. The smell is too strong, the sizzling is too loud, the oil splatter feels like tiny assassins attacking your arms. The sticky flour in your hands makes you want to claw your own skin off. You're not being dramatic. This is what researchers call sensory sensitivity, and it's more common than you think. Studies show that people with higher sensory sensitivity often report negative feelings about cooking, not because they can't do it, but because doing it feels genuinely unpleasant on a physical level. It's like the difference between someone who finds a massage relaxing and someone who can't stand being touched. Same activity, completely different nervous system response. And the worst part, kitchens are sensory chaos. You've got heat blasting from the stove, steam fogging up your glasses, sharp knives requiring constant attention. Don't slice your finger off. Timers beeping, pots boiling over, smoke detectors threatening to go off. That one drawer that never closes properly. For someone with high sensory sensitivity, kitchens is basically exposure therapy you didn't sign up for. But here's where it gets even more interesting. A lot of people who hate cooking aren't actually bad at it. They're just terrified of being bad at it.
Psychologists call this performance anxiety, and cooking triggers it hard because 1, there's no undo button. Burn the garlic? Too bad, it's bitter now. Oversalt the soup? Hope you like drinking the ocean. Undercook the chicken? Congratulations, you've just invented salmonella roulette. 2, the results are immediately judged. You can't hide a failed meal. It's right there on the plate, staring at you with its sad, overcooked eyes. 3, cooking has this weird cultural pressure around it. TV shows make it look effortless. Instagram makes it look beautiful. Your mom made it look easy. And now you're standing there with a recipe that says quick and simple while your kitchen looks like a crime scene and nothing tastes right. This creates what researchers call avoidance behavior. The more you worry about failing, the less you avoid the thing entirely. And the more you avoid it, the less practice you get. And the less practice you get, the more likely you are to fail when you do try. Now, meanwhile, for some people, like me, cooking just isn't rewarding enough to justify the effort. That's because when you cook a meal, your brain goes through a cost-benefit analysis. It weighs time invested, shopping, prepping, cooking, cleaning, mental energy spent, all those decisions we talked about, physical discomfort, heat, mess, standing for ages, against the pleasure of eating the meal, pride in creating something, possible compliments from others, money saved versus ordering out. For people who love cooking, the reward side is heavy. They get genuine joy from the process itself. The meal tastes better because they made it. They feel accomplished. Their brain releases dopamine, the same feel-good chemical you get from exercise or video games or scrolling TikTok until 3 a.m. For people who hate cooking, the cost-benefit calculation looks completely different. The effort feels massive, the process is stressful, and the reward? Well, the food tastes fine, maybe, if they didn't mess it up, and now there's a mountain of dishes that somehow multiplied while they weren't looking. It's like working overtime at a job you hate for a paycheck that barely covers your rent. Tactically, you're getting something, but is it worth it? Your brain says absolutely not. It isn't laziness, it's rational decision-making. People who hate cooking experience time differently while doing it. Psychologists have found that when you're doing something you enjoy, time seems to fly. An hour feels like 20 minutes. This is called time compression. When you're doing something you don't enjoy, time moves like it's wading through peanut butter. 20 minutes feels like an hour. This is time dilation. So when a recipe says 30-minute meal, people who love cooking think, cool, that'll fly by. People who hate cooking think that's half an hour of my life I'll never get back, and it'll feel like 2 hours, and then I still have to clean. This time perception difference makes cooking feel even more burdensome. You're not just spending time, you're spending time that feels longer than it actually is. By the way, cooking for yourself can also feel pointless. Humans are social creatures. For thousands of years, cooking was a communal activity. You didn't prepare food alone, you did it with family, with your tribe, with people who would share the meal and the labor. Now, tons of people live alone. They come home to empty apartments, and the idea of spending an hour making dinner just for themselves feels sad. Their brain is screaming, why are we doing all this work for an audience of 0? It's the same reason people don't throw themselves birthday parties when they live alone. Technically, you could, but it hits different when nobody's there to celebrate with you. Studies show that people who live alone are significantly more likely to rely on convenience foods and takeout, not because they can't cook, but because cooking without a social component removes half the reward. You're doing all the work of a group activity with none of the social payoff. Your brain does the math and says, cereal it is. Here's where things get psychological in a weird way. At some point, I don't like cooking stops being a preference and becomes an identity. You tell people, oh, I can't cook. They laugh, you laugh, it becomes your thing. Your friends know not to ask you to bring homemade food to potlucks. Your family stops teaching you their recipes because you're not interested. And slowly, without realizing it, you've locked yourself into a self-concept that makes change feel impossible. And this might sound weird, but hear me out. For most of human history, not everyone cooked. In hunter-gatherer societies, people had specialized roles. Some hunted, some gathered, some made tools, some watched the kids, some prepared food. Not everybody did everything. The idea that every adult should be able to cook full meals from scratch is actually a pretty modern invention, and it's mostly a Western, middle-class invention at that. Throughout history and across cultures, communal cooking, street food, and food specialists have been the norm. Your average medieval peasant wasn't whipping up three-course meals every night. They were eating porridge made by whoever was designated to make porridge that day. So maybe, just maybe, some people's brains aren't naturally wired for the specific cognitive load that modern home cooking requires. Maybe they would have thrived in a society where food prep was communal, where they could specialize in other things, where the pressure to be a home chef didn't exist. And in that context, hating cooking isn't a personal failing, it's just a mismatch between your natural inclinations and modern cultural expectations. So, here's what we've learned. People who hate cooking aren't lazy, incompetent, destined for nutritional disaster, bad adults. They're people whose brains process the cognitive load differently, who experience sensory input more intensely, who have different reward systems, who live in circumstances that make cooking impractical or unrewarding, who never developed the muscle memory that makes it feel automatic. And you know what? That's okay. Because the goal is to find a sustainable way to feed yourself that doesn't make you miserable. So next time someone asks, "Did you cook tonight?" and you say no, you don't have to apologize. You're not broken. Your brain just has a different operating system, and that system runs perfectly fine on takeout. Kindly hit subscribe if you want more videos that explain why you are the way you are without making you feel bad about it. What's your relationship with cooking? Are you team "it's my therapy" or team "I've eaten cereal for dinner 3 times this week"? Let me know in the comments. I read all of them. See you in the next one.